Let me go to the slide. Right. Yes.
Does the help function work without docstring?
Sorry?
Does the help function work without writing the
Yeah, we can. I mean, without writing all also the doc string, it can actually give us whatever that thing is there. This doc string is actually a string that helps you to write some string in the class function that can be printed. Okay, but help in general can give you the overall methods and everything that is there in the class itself. Okay, let's start a bit more. We'll keep on going. Over here we have got now two methods. So I'm now increasing number of methods, right? First of all, what I have done, I have used an import library, which is called date and time. So this is actually a built-in library that Python have. This date time library is actually used to find the date and the time and everything of in your program. Then I have defined a class user, and then I have created a doc string at the module in the class library itself, talking about what this class is about. There are two methods over here. The first method talks about initializing the class with the name, with the full name and birthday, and then dividing the thing into first name and last name. The second one is actually, I would like to see what is the age of that particular person. So, I mean, if I give when is his birthday, the date of birth. So from the date of birth till now, if I do the differences, I'll get the age, right? So that age is important for us. So define age itself. So that is actually what I'm doing. How I'm doing it, that is the important thing for us to know. Let's continue with this one. Let's start with the main function itself. So I'm creating an object called user1. So it's calling the function called user. This user is calling the function user with two parameters, Dave Bowman and 1971, 3rd of March. User1.name is Dave Bowman. User1.birthday is 1971, 3rd of March. Dividing the name into two spaces with space. First name, Dave, last name, Bowman. Done. Finished. So I said print user1.name, print user1.firstname, which is Dave, print user1.last name, which is Bowman, print user1.birthday, which is actually the 1971 and 3rd of March. Now I'm going to do also something called print user1.age. So I'd like to know the age of the particular person. If a person is born on 3rd of March 1971, how old is he now? We know that calculation, we just subtract from 2023 and we do the calculation. But actually how the program does with the date and time. This type of thing is very important for you to know, because in your final exam, I'll be asking to split and get the data and then convert the data, do some calculations on those type of thing. So it's better to know all this type of thing, okay? How to read a string of characters and how to, like the one that you're doing for your second assignment with encryption, decryption, finding the letters, finding the characters from those and then convert them according to your own need and then do the operation. So this is one of the operations that you should know. Okay, so I'm calling the particular age, which is called user1.age. So this is this one. So I know that user1 is actually the self, the user1. So I'm calling that function. I'm saying today is the date and time, date time dot date, which is 2001 5 of 12. Okay, that is actually the today's date that they have said. But in Python, you can also use something without any specific dates. If you just say today date dot time, it will give you the current date. Now this is over here pretty much fixed, right? 2001, this is fixed, but you can change it to variable as well. You can change it dynamic. Anytime you can do the calculation. Today, tomorrow, day after tomorrow, you don't need to put that date. But anyway, for the timing, it is given as 2001, 5, and 12. Year, born, self.birthday, which is user1.birthday. Now if I see 1971 03 15, so user1.birthday is 0 to 4, which is 0 to 3. So that means 1971, right? So that's actually year. So this is 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So 0 to 3 is actually 1971. So this is year. Now, as you can see, I put an int function because you know that these are all characters, right? So you need to convert that thing into integer. So that's why I'm saying integer. So that means 1971 has been taken from the character list, convert it into an integer. Then month, integer again, so cell.birthday, so same birthday, from 4 to 6, so that means 4 to 5, 4 and 5, this is called month. Okay, so this is my year, this is my month, and then convert that thing into an integer, which is third of the year, third month of the year. Then date, again cell.birthday, the last two, which is 6 to 8, which means 6 to 7, so these are actually the birthday, so this is actually date. So this is the year, this is month, this is day. Everything has been converted into an integer. Clear, guys? So that means from a string of numbers, I got my month, year, I got my month, I got my date. This is exactly how a software also works. Whenever you put in your date of birth, the way actually calculate is exactly this thing. So these are directly going to the application development itself. Exactly this is actually how they work. Okay, so they extract the date because they also need to find a way to convert those into a character. Remember, everything that you type in your computer is actually all characters, right? So there should be a way to convert that character into integer. So every program need to convert that character into integer. So this is the one Pythonic way of doing it. Python converting into character to integer, and this is exactly how they do it. They divide that thing into month, year, and date based on whatever you put in. Then I am saying date of birth. So now this is actually, I have created a date of birth by myself, date and time dot date. So this is actually one method, and this is actually one object or a function. This is actually another method of that one, of that function, of that particular function. So you can say this is an object and this is actually method. So what I'm doing, I'm converting that thing into a proper birthday type. So it is actually now 1971, then third of the month and 15th of that particular month. So I've converted that thing into exact date of birth. Then I'm saying find the age in number of days. How? What is the today's date? The one that I have defined. So look, the way I have defined and the way I have defined these two are there. They should be in similar format. Year to year, month to month, and then day to day. All this have been plotted in the same way. So this is how it works. So this is my today's date minus the date of birth dot days. So these days is exactly what it is doing. It is converting the whole subtraction of today's date minus the day that the person has born, convert that into number of days. So this is actually a function that it will do. Initially have to convert the thing to number of days, then after we will divide it into 365, because we know that in a year we have 365, and in that way you get the number of years. So this is actually today minus, so this is actually called, so this is called today's date minus the date of birth dot days, means I'm converting that thing, the whole thing, into days only. So this is no month, this is no year, everything is in number of days. Then I'm saying convert that thing into years. So which is that? So age in days, the total the days that I got in number of days divided by 365. That will give me the age in years, right? In a year, how many days you have? 365. So the total days divided by 365 will give me the number of years. And then I'm saying return that, because this is actually another method that I have defined, and it will return that particular method. So when I'm going to return it, so it will return the age of the particular person and it will be printed. The last thing is help user. It will tell me all the things that you have in that particular function. Now let me go to the output. As you can see, Bauman, what is the other output gone? Okay, it's okay. I think I didn't print it. So it's the day of Bauman 1971, and the age is actually 30 years that we got already. Okay, so the person is actually 30 years old. And then this help is giving me all the definitions of the class. This is the doc string. There are two methods defined. One is the init method, and the other one is age. There is no dictionary, there is no weak references, and this is a small definition of all the class that we use as a help user. Very effective, and this is exactly how we do, because if you are developing an application for your project where you'd like to create a sort of portal, okay, or you want to create an inventory system, and you want something on online portal, people come and register to your system and then they buy product. So that means the registration should be done by using classes, right? This type of class. Once you register them, then you can add those users as your backend, and then you can use that user to do purchase, to do sales, keep track of how many purchases that they've done, contacting them, all this type of things can be done. But you have to create that user. So this is actually a mechanism of how to create a user like that way. These are very straightforward, very simple, but if you don't understand how these constructors work, then it will be a bit confusing for you as well. Okay, I've done lots of examples as well as a couple of videos as well, because these are coming from some of the good videos as well. I've looked at the videos to see some good sources. So you have seen the videos, there are other documents as well. Just go through it. 1 week is enough for us to understand these object classes, which will be needed for your application development. Okay, let's continue. So understood, guys, this so far? Have you understood? How about you guys? How about you guys? Yes?
Having issue with the date time function.
Okay. Date and time function, do you want me to explain again?
For example, when you have the variable today,
Mm-hmm.
the date time is today.
Yep.
I assume the word date time is meant to be in a particular color, which signals it's a certain command, but here it shows up white with a yellow line underneath, with the error saying that date time is not defined.
Yeah. Now, that's why this will be something that I kept for you guys. I really didn't want to put that thing. This is actually something where this particular function requires all the input in this way. Okay. But there is other type of function in the Python that doesn't require user input. Okay. Without user input also you can get the date and time of your system itself. So you should know. So now you guys are getting a bit advanced. So find out, okay, if this particular function is not working, which is true because this actually comes with variable, but there are other functions that can help you to read the clock of your computer, right? So find that. So there's a Python function that will give you the clock of your computer. So this will be a simple task for you guys to do it, and in that you will learn. Okay. But that's a good question, and I think it's good that you have already started practicing those things, which is really great. But there are other functions that allows you to read the clock of your computer, and then from that clock itself, you can get date, time, seconds, milliseconds, everything you can get. But you just need to find it out. It's there on the internet. Anyway, that's good. That's a good question and a good work for all of you. Online students, have you understood what I have taught you so far with the date and time conversions? Okay. Right. Let's continue further and see how much you can go. So this is the one. With this one, let me see. Okay, this is another one I'd like to finish. Then after we'll go with this one. Okay. Now, I will show you some of the another important, a little bit of more work on the class and object creation. We have defined a class. Now the class name is not anymore user because user doesn't, okay, that's finished. Now we're defining something called, I have got a small company. I've got a lot of employees who are working with me, okay? And so I'd like to keep the database. So I've created a class, which is an employee. This class is going to be used creating for username with name and birthday. Actually, this is not the right thing. This is not the right thing because I've copy and paste thing. Because if you see in this class, they have salary, number of employees and everything. Okay, so it is not actually name and birthday. So anyway, I just copy and paste that thing. But you can change the doc string according to your way, how it should look like. Now, there are a couple of things. Anything that you define under class, it is not actually in any method, right? So this particular variable is not defined under any method. It is defined under a class. So whenever you define a variable which is not belong to any method, which is outside the method, that is called a global variable. What is that called? Global. That means that variable can be used anywhere in the program. Okay? It is not local to any method. And whenever you define any sort of variable towards a method, then that is called a local variable. In order to access that method, you need to call that method and the variable to get that particular variable data. But if you'd like to call this type of, if you'd like to get the data of this particular variable employee count, because this is global, you don't need to, I mean, you can call it anywhere of the program. But if something, for example, if you want to get the salary, which is local to this one, you need to call the method and the variable of that method in that way, because that is actually called local. Local means that it has been defined, it has been, the variable has been tied with the local method that you have done. So whenever you call a local variable, you call the method and the variable of that particular local method. And when you call it global, that means that is beyond the class, that is not in the class. You can call it anytime, that can be used in your local method, global method, not a problem. Clear, guys? So one simple problem, one definition of global and local variable is, local variable is defined to a method locally typed, and global is something which is not, which is defined in the main, doesn't belong to any sort of method. It is actually belong to the main function. So that global is actually can be called by any time. And whenever I call a local variable, I call the method name and the variable of that method name. And when I call a global, I don't need to call it a method name because it is actually global for me. I can use it anywhere. So this is the difference between a local and a global variable. Now, let's see what this function is doing. Okay, anyway, I'll just cut this line. So this doesn't make any sense. You can write it by yourself. Okay, so this particular class has got one global variable. Okay, then they have got some method. The first method is initialization with the self, and then they have got two attributes. One is the name of the employee and the salary of the employee. That is actually what they have done. Over here, this is called counting how many is there, and this is also for, this is actually for display. So displaying the data of that class. This is also display the data of that class. Let's see how it works. Okay. Then I have got a couple of doc strings parallelly as well. So first of all, I have created my first object named employee1, emp1 of the class employee. Okay, I have called that thing as Zara and 2000. So self is now emp1. So emp1.name is Zara, which is emp1.name is Zara. Then emp1.salary, emp1.salary is 2000. Clear? This is clear, right? So user.name, user.salary. Then I'm saying employee.mcount, because this employee belongs to the main variable. So I'm calling, it's actually a global variable. So I'm calling the main class, which is employee.mcount equals to +1. You know that plus equals to 1 is equals to x equals to x plus 1. That is exactly how it works, right? So I'm just adding it number. So initially it was 0, now it is now 1. So that means my employee.mcount is now 1. Done. That's done. Now let's go to the employee 2. So I'm going to create another employee. So his name is that W is actually M2. So now M2.name, which is M2.name is money, and then M2.salary is 5,000. So that means I got two employee over here. The first employee is, what's her name? The first employee is Zara, and the second employee is money. The first employee's salary is 2,000, and the second employee's salary is 5,000, right? Once I have done it, it will automatically also say employee.mcount equals to +1. So initially it was 1, now it will be how many? 2. So that means I'm adding it. So I got 2 employees, I got the name, I got the salary, and the number of employees that I have in that one. Now I'm saying emp1.display employee. I'm going to call this particular display employee. That's true, I have to call that one. This is the method. And what is the self over here? emp1, which is my object. So when I'm going to say that thing, it will say print name, which is name is this name. Then it will say self.name, which is emp1.name, which is Zara. Then it will print salary in the inverted comma, and it will say self.salary, which is emp1.salary, which is 2000. So that means I have already asked that method with the emp1, and it is displaying the name, which is name, emp1.name, which is Zara, salary, emp1.salary, which is 2000. Clear, guys? Then the next one, m2.display employee. So that means same thing I'm calling over here now. Again, name, Cell.name is money, salary is 5,000. So I got name and salary for both M1 and M2. Then after that, what I have done, I have said I'd like to print the total employee that I have. Now this is a good thing. Total employee is, this is actually a code, you have to understand. When you want to print any data, integer data from what is it called, from the class. So this percentage d is actually it's called the integer. Percentage d is actually called integer. Percentage f is called a float. It will come to you. So this is integer. I am saying percentage employee.m count. So you have to understand this is actually what it does. It actually extracts the value of this one and it is represented as an integer function. So this particular percentage is used. This is not used for any sort of operator like x, y, z. Whenever I'm working with a class, I have to put a percentage that will tell us the value of that class that is going to throw. And in which format is going to throw? It's in percentage d. That means it will be thrown as an integer format. That's the thing. So this is actually the difference between the class and an operator. And any sort of basic operator, x, y. In x, y, z, we don't do that, like percentage dx. We don't do it. Just say print x, and it will give me the value. As long as x is an integer, it will give me the value. But over here, what I'm doing, I'm just getting the number of the class that it is throwing. So that's why I'm using percentage. So it is extracting the number of that one, and percentage is actually converting the number into integer format for a display. So when I'm saying that print total employee, which is total employee, I'm going to print employee.mcloud, which this is the one I'm calling. So that means this is my employee, and then this is my employee.mcount. Just employee.mcount. That means this is I'm talking about. Okay. So when I'm saying this one, the employee.mcount, so I'm actually calling the class and the global variable of that class, which is employees by class dot the variable is mcount. Percentage, convert that thing into a number. In which format? Integer. Answer is 2. So the total employees 2. That is really how we have extracted this information. I will show you. We lost the share screen. Just give me a second. Let me stop the recording. I'll come back with the new screen again.